Assalamualaikum and good morning, everyone. Thanks for inviting me here today, and lots of great speakers that spoke before this as well. My name is Dzameer Dzulkifli, and I'm the co-founder and managing director of Teach For Malaysia. Today, I'll be talking to you guys about Teach Malaysia, and specifically a program that we're doing, which is Empowered to Empower. What is this actually? What is excellent education? For us in Teach Malaysia, we believe excellent education is a Malaysia where all children are empowered to be leading their own learning, their future, and the nation's future. This is what empowerment means, the choice to do whatever you want, wherever you want, and not being afraid or being told that you can't do it. Here are some stats of Malaysia. 44% of 14-year-olds in Malaysia do not meet international literacy proficiency. 60% do not meet numeracy proficiency levels, and 1 out of 5 Malaysians do not complete secondary school. This is the stats. What does it look in real life? What does it look when a child, how do you see this and feel this in the classrooms of Malaysia? I've got a short video here to share with you guys.
Azil, bila besar nanti nak jadi apa?
Bila besar nanti nak jadi polis.
Jadi polis? Jadi polis kena tahu bahasa Inggeris tak?
Tak.
Jadi kamu suka tak bahasa Inggeris? Tak suka bahasa Inggeris?
My name is Rakesh.
Saya kamu cuba baca ni. Cuba baca ni. Cuba saja. Apa ni? With apa? With I got of I with to be to. Faham tak apa yang dia cakap? Tak faham langsung? Okey, saya nak tanya Rakesh satu soalan. Rakesh boleh tak kira 1 sampai 20 dalam bahasa Inggeris? Cuba.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Tak tahu dah.
Lepas tu tak tahu dah?
My name is Jaya Lachimi. I old is 20 years old.
20 years old? What is 13?
13 years old.
13.
13 years old.
Okay, Jaya, can you please read this for me?
Kecil ni apa?
When?
When I
Cuba.
When I
These are some of the kids in Malaysia that have been going through the education system and still struggle. Their background often limits their opportunity. It's not a lack of ability. I personally was really shocked once when I visited a classroom and went into a Form 2 geography classroom, and there was an exercise going on. And most of the boys and girls were working on the class, except one boy was at the back, sitting very quietly, looking down. And I asked him, what's up? What's going on? Do you have any, kenapa ni, ada masalah tak? Boleh saya tolong? And then he said, Cikgu, saya tak tahu baca. This was a Malay boy who couldn't read in Malay geography class, and that really shocked me. It wasn't the usual challenges of SJKC or SJKT challenges, but this was own language, mother tongue language that they couldn't read. And if you can't read, you don't have access to information. These are what the stats don't tell us about living in low-income communities, right? Kids at the age of, sometimes at the age of 8, have to start working for their families. They don't have any role models growing up, be it university or the creative arts or starting up barber shops as well. They don't have those role models, and programs like Johor are amazing. They didn't pass UPSR, and this is a self-defeatist attitude. No one has actually told them, you can succeed, you can progress, you can be amazing. And that's what really kids need, that sense of hope and motivation. So given all the challenges that we see in the education space, what does a little organization like Teach Malaysia want to do? We believe that talent is at the key of any successful organization, and more importantly, in the education system. if you attract top graduates and young professionals that never considered a career in teaching because they've been told to be doctors, lawyers, engineers, maybe startup founders, or nowadays bankers and consultants, who's actually going to be passing on civilization to the next generation? Teach For Malaysia is going out there to recruit top graduates to teach as full-time teachers in underprivileged schools for 2 years. During that 2 years, they'll make an impact on their students, but more importantly, they'll understand what the student challenges face and how to remove those barriers in the long run. They can decide to stay in the education system or they can decide to leave, but there will always be an alumni movement dedicated towards systemic change. Not just pushing the boundaries forward for one kid at a time, but pushing all of Malaysia forward simultaneously. Now, here's going to be a video about one of our fellows sharing a short reflection. You met Jaya earlier on. She's then talking about how she worked with Jaya for 2 years in her fellowship. On top of being a full-time teacher, she did after-school classes with Jaya as well.
In my first year of teaching, I had this student, her name is Jaya, and she was 13 years old when I first met her. So she was at Form 1, and what really struck me with Jaya was she couldn't read and write at all. She knew the alphabets, but she just didn't know how it sounded. So I offered to give her extra classes after school, and she took them up. And she would come to my house every day after school, and we'll go through all the books together. So we started at Peter and Jane. This was at level 1A, and I realized that she couldn't read the first word in the book, which was Peter. And we started from there. That was the level that she began with. And we moved from there to a few different levels as well after that. So after 4 months, she could finally finish reading book 1A, Peter and Jane. And then she asked me if she could bring her entire family along to our reading sessions. And I said, sure. So she brought her family along, and I realized that her entire family couldn't read. So she has a brother who is 16 years old at this point. And he couldn't read as well. What really struck me after seeing all that was the moment when I saw her at book 3A. She was at 3A at this point, but she was confidently reading to her sister and her brother, and she was telling them how to pronounce certain words. And at that moment, I realized that I wasn't just teaching her, but empowering her to teach her entire family as well.
So there's a ripple effect. One teacher impacts one student, one bit at a time, impacts a family. That's what we're looking for, and so far in the past 5 years, Teach Malaysia has recruited 253 fellows to be part of this program. 31 of them are actually based in Pasir Gudang, Johor, in 22 schools not too far away from JB, and also TEDxSungaiSegget, which I just learned a lot about. We are here, we were placed in underprivileged schools, low-income communities, industrial communities, and we want to be working with all sorts of players and stakeholders in Johor to help these kids see a different future for themselves. They need the exposure, and the most memorable line I have about a fellow told me, they said, Dzameer, in the end of the day, we're just routers. We take the kids and show them the outside world, and we get the outside world and we show them to the kids. And once the kids see that, there's already a natural spark in them that continues to grow. Now, what happens after the 2 years, Dzameer? What can you do in 2 years, right? And what can you do with 250 people? So far, 150 fellows have completed the 2 years. And this is where the real magic of Teach Malaysia happens. What happens here is that they then decide what to do next. And out of this 150, around 45 of them are in the education sector. So they continue to be a full-time teacher with MOE and as a civil servant. About another 40% are in the social sector or education sector, and then another 30% is in the private sector, places like Shell, CIMB, Bank Negara, McKinsey, etc. Right? But what are they going to do as a group? Here's a few examples. 5 of them that remained as teachers demonstrated such great leadership that they influenced their principal to start off an innovative school transformation project. Leveraging of the Trust School program, they are teaching and training almost 80 to 120 other teachers that impact another 1,000 students. This is only in their 3rd or 4th year of teaching. Some of them decided then to actually, the classroom and the school environment is not for me. I want to start an after-school program. An after-school program around coding that really pushes kids because there's no curriculum and there's only problem plus programming. And when they did this, they were so successful at taking kids from low-income communities that were challenging even the Sekolah Berasmara Pono and the international school kids at programming and coding challenges that they were winning awards. MDEC spotted them, and MDEC said, hey, we've been thinking about rewriting the computer science curriculum. Can you come help us do it? You understand the system, you understand computer science, let's do it together. So MDEC appointed them to rewrite the computer science curriculum, as well as train 22 other pilot schools to run this program. Another group of alumni said, you know what, I've been teaching in classrooms and the most thing I struggle with, there's no resources. I don't have exciting books, I don't have exciting resources, I can't take my kids on trips, it's so difficult. What are we going to do? Let's start a crowdfunding platform for teachers. Not just TFM fellows, any teacher can sign up a program and fundraise. And so far, they've raised more than 380,000 for different projects around schools. This is only with alumni that are in the third, fourth, or fifth year of their program experience. In the next 20 or 30 years, in fact, Teach For America, Teach For Malaysia is part of a global network called Teach For All. And Teach For America is one of the oldest partners there, where you have even the Minister of Education as well as the head of IRS, which is the LHDN equivalent, was a Teach For America alumni, or is a Teach For America alumni. In fact, I just heard a story about one of them was even a fireman, and if there's a fire in the school, you know they'll be getting there first. So it takes everybody, it takes a village to raise a child in that sense. I'm going to leave you, again, leave you with this thought about empowerment and how there's such a strong ripple effect. You heard about Swet Lee teaching Jaya, who then impacted her 16-year-old brother. I'm going to leave you with one video to thank the teachers, but also to see how Swet Lee's little brother, Jason, also became a fellow.
Hello, my name is Jason. But every day, people call me Cikgu Jason, and I hear it in all kinds of tones. Cikgu Jason! Cikgu Jason! Cikgu Jason! Yeah. I have an interesting story to tell you about how I became Cikgu Jason. Every day I see these kids, they put on a great big smile, and they look at school as a safe space to discover about the world, about themselves, and about the people around them. That's exactly the kind of space where we learn more than what we get from textbooks. So I choose to believe in them and have faith in their capabilities. I look for the positives in every wrong they do and provide opportunities to further develop any passion they might have. And most of all, I truly trust that they are sincerely trying their best every day. I tell myself every day, today I will inspire one kid. And this was all only because I had one lecturer who once did the same to me. She was my lecturer in my foundation days in university. Her name is Delia Zain. Coolest name ever, but we call her Miss D. So, she tells me the good she sees in me, even when I don't see it. She pushes opportunities right to my face and tells me that I can do it, even when I thought that's impossible. She provides the resources when I was too lazy to look for it, and makes it hard for me to fail or even do badly in the classes. She acts like a tutor to me, a friend, makcik sometimes, and even a mother.
I've been teaching for about 7 years and I love my job as an educator. What empowers me to love my job as an educator are my students. It's gratifying to see my students achieve better grades or improve their talent or be an educator like me, just like Cikgu Jason. And that happened only because I put that extra effort, attention, and love into my task of educating them. Cikgu Jason empowered me when he was my student, and he still empowers me now because he's an evidence that I made a difference in my student's life. Definitely worth my time and effort.
So what's the lesson here? Empowerment is a ripple effect. What Miss D did for me and continue to do now empowers me to do more every day. These kids I meet in school are more than just kids in school that I teach. If I can do better at my job because somebody showed me and empowered me, I sure do hope they are empowered to do better in school every day. And I pray they will do the same onto others in the future. Thanks.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay dah.
The amount of joy, satisfaction, enjoyment. I wish I had a teacher like Miss D or Jason as well, and I know many of you do. So as I leave today, I just want to ask you guys, who was that teacher that left that spark in you? Reach out to them and thank them if they're still around. And then if you had to empower a kid or the kids in Malaysia, what would you say to them? Empowered to empower. Thank you very much.